Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I was thinking this week that so far in this series I've been focusing on one piece of this project, and that is the neck that you see here. But I haven't really conveyed a sense of the overall final product that I'm going for. In other words, I haven't shown you the whole base. So I thought what I would do is take a little intermission and pop into my 3D modeling program, Rhino, and show you the base body and the base neck together and what I'm shooting for in terms of this project and what I want the final outcome to be. And I'll also discuss some of the design aspects of the base, its influences, the base that I'm modeling it on, which is my 1991 Modulus Quantum base. So let's hop into Rhino 3D, talk a little bit, and then on the other side, I will show you the body blank that I hope to carve this week into the body itself and talk about that and that process, and then wrap things up. See you on the other side. Okay, so now we are in Rhino 3D looking at the 3D model of the body for the space project. As I mentioned, it's modeled after my 1991 Modulus Quantum base. One thing I should say about Rhino is that I'm very much a novice when it comes to using 3D software, and in fact, most of the time spent over this last, say, year and a half learning to build instruments has been spent learning how to use 3D modeling software. It's very challenging and very difficult, and like I said, I'm a complete amateur. One thing I've definitely learned in the process of coming to grips with the complexities of this program is that it's good to build your models in layers. So I'll show you here, I'll run through the layers, and as you can see, all the different elements of this base have a separate layer. So we're looking at the bottom surface right now. Those are the sides. There's the top surface. These are the pickup cavities, neck cavities, and the bridge recess. This is the basic contours for the body. And then there's also a control cavity, which you'll see in the back when I show you that view. So this is the front. Here is the back. As you can see, this is going to be a one pickup base. This is going to be the pickup right here. This is a recess for the bridge that I intend to use because the bridge needs to be sunken into the surface a little bit to get the proper relation to the neck and the proper string height and all that. Otherwise, I wouldn't get the action that I'm looking for. I wouldn't be able to adjust the strings so they're low enough in relation to the body to give me the action I'm looking for. This, of course, is the neck recess. Flipping over to the back, we have the control cavity. There's a little shelf here for the control cavity cover. You can see that I've added a belly carve, a comfort contour as they call them. These here are the recesses for the ferrules that I'm going to use to bolt the neck onto the body. So if I go back to the front, one thing that I've done is I've put in a sort of a copy of the neck model just to use as a reference. So if I pull out, you'll see that's kind of the final effect that I'm going for, the neck and the body. I'm going to put it in rendered mode just so you get a better sense of what it looks like. That's the whole kind of kit and caboodle right there. If I flip over to perspective, zooming in and out, I'll put it in rendered mode again so you can see it. So that's kind of the whole base, the whole design right there. And that's what I'm hoping it looks like when I'm finished. You can disregard these slots. Like I said, this is just a dummy model of the neck that I use as kind of a visual reference when I was constructing the body. But that's what I'm hoping for in the end. And that's what I'm going to be working on this weekend in terms of actually carving this thing rather than just modeling it out of an actual piece of wood. And that's what we're going to talk about in the next segment. All right, so before I talk about the base blank, I wanted to show you the inspiration for this project, which, as I mentioned, is my 1991 Modulus Quantum 6-string bass. Now, I first saw this thing probably around the time it was made in a local music store back when we still had local music stores. And I saw it hanging on the wall and just instantly fell in love with it. I took it down and played it and liked it even more. I was really struck by the fancy figured top. Certainly, Modulus's calling card, the carbon graphite neck, was super new and innovative at the time. And you have to remember back then, the only other real boutique instruments I'd ever really seen in my life were from brands like Alembic. There weren't a lot of custom boutique builders out there, and Modulus is one of the first. So it's a really beautiful instrument. Of course, it was extremely expensive for back then. It was probably $2,600, and I was a poor college student. I couldn't afford that. But luckily, some years later, I was in some local kind of small guitar place, pawn shop type place, and this instrument was in there, and it was $1,200, which again was a lot of money for me at the time. But I managed to scrape it together, and I bought this bass, and it was my main instrument, my main bass for many, many, many years, despite the fact that it's not really well suited, terribly well suited to my playing style for many reasons, one of which is it's a 35-inch scale. And so when you play this bass and get down here like, like a low C or a low F, it's a lot of extra reach. And that in combination with the weight of this bass can really put a strain on your arm and your shoulder when you play it for a long time. So that was one of the things about it, I think, that made me drift away from it, especially when I started getting Ibanez 6-string basses and playing them more, because they're more suited kind of to my style. But nonetheless, beautiful instrument. It's fitted out with a really cool MIDI rig, a sort of hexaphonic MIDI input system with piezo bridge pieces and so on and so forth that allow you to hook it up to a guitar synth or a bass synth like a GR55. I have one of those, and I can run this through that. I can also run it directly into my computer through a MIDI interface and trigger virtual instrument sounds, which is super fun. But again, purely as a bass, this thing, as beautiful as it is, doesn't really suit my playing style. So the plan for this project is to basically pay tribute to this instrument by building a body that exactly matches this body and has kind of the same form factor, but then using a lot of other specs, as I've discussed in other videos, that are more suited to the way I play. So that's the goal. It's to pay homage to this really, really lovely instrument that I've been lucky enough to own for many, many years. This thing is old. It's got a lot of issues. The fact that it's kind of special and unique with respect to the materials like the carbon fiber neck make it tough to work on. It would be very difficult for me to modify it. So I have to kind of treat this as an old friend and kind of a relic that sits around a lot looking beautiful. And I want to make something that has some of the same attributes, but that also better suits my playing style. So that's the goal. So now we're going to talk about the body blank and the next steps. Okay, so without further ado, here is the blank that I plan to carve into the body for this bass project, hopefully this weekend. You'll notice that it has a laminated top, and that's sitting on a basswood body blank. Now the basswood blank I got from StewMac, and it's a nice piece of wood. I wasn't fully satisfied with the seams. They're adequate, but I think they could have been better. The good news is they'll only be visible from the back, so that's fine. Now with respect to the top, it is Purple Heart and Maple. You'll see that a lot of flame in this Purple Heart, which I think is really great, and I think it's rare. I think flamed Purple Heart is actually kind of rare. And I think that once some finish is put on that flame top, it's going to really, really pop and look really cool. An interesting thing about Purple Heart, which I discovered, is that in its natural state inside the tree, it's actually brown. It's only when you cut it and it's exposed to sunlight and oxygen that it starts to take on that really vivid purple color that it's known for. Now, because I planed it recently and exposed that kind of brown interior, it's only had a couple days to get back to that exposed purple color. So I have to leave it out some more, let it get a suntan, so to speak, before it sort of achieves the final color that I'm looking for. One other thing to mention about this blank is that when I bought it, it was about 44 millimeters thick. And of course, I'm going for a final body thickness of about 35 millimeters, including the top. So that meant I had to take the basswood blank, put it on the CNC machine, and plane it from 44 millimeters down to 28 before I could glue the top on. But I've done that. So this blank is pretty much ready to go. It's going on the CNC machine this weekend, and we'll see what happens. I should show you the neck with it just to give you a sense of what I'm going for. It's fairly obvious, corresponding elements, the colors echoing one another, the Purple Heart in the position markers, as well as the center stripes echoing the body wings. I like the idea of the continuity with this center maple stripe and the neck. I think it's going to look really nice, but I won't know until I've actually got a body in my hand and can put the two pieces together and see what it looks like. Anyways, that's going to be the subject of the next video, and I look forward to sharing with you hopefully a successful carve outcome, and I'll be able to show you that process and sit here with a more or less finished body in my hands. So wish me luck, and I will talk to you all soon.